December 1st, 2020. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is a special edition of the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, the Head Coaches Roundtable, or correction, I'll say Coaches Roundtable because we have an assistant coach here. But the reason why I'm doing this is because we have various coaches, both in the winter sports and just overall, that have a lot to say because on January 19th, the tentative date of when the winter sports can begin, the CIAC will meet a couple days prior to discuss if this season can go on, be paused, or just be canceled. I'm pleased to have two coaches, great coaches here. First off, I have the assistant coach for Fairfield Prep, his name Coach Garrett Hickey. Coach Hickey, say hello.
How you doing? Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
And I also have the head coach for Canton, Craig Archambault. By the way, I've had both of these gentlemen on before. Coach Archambault, say hello.
Hey, Chris, how you doing, man? Thanks for having me. I love listening to everything that you do.
I really do appreciate it, guys. I think first and foremost, let's kind of jump right into it. January 19th, as far as the CIAC kind of pushed after various dates from late November to early December, they finally agreed upon to January 19th. I'll start off with Coach Archambault. What was your first reaction when you saw the CIAC come out with that date?
First reaction, obviously we all wanted to play. I think our kids had just finished up a couple fall leagues that they were in. So, we were talking about getting prepared for the season and getting excited about it. I knew, that early November date, that was kind of before we even started anyhow. And then we heard rumors of, December 5th. And I think we were all just hopeful and wanting to get in the gym and start tryouts and start playing. And, but I think the kids, myself, we all understood numbers were rising, cases were getting higher, and that pushing it off might have been better than, starting and stopping, or starting and not being able to play games, or, so just giving that little bit of a window, hopefully helps.
Coach Hickey, same question for you.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree. I think we all kind of had that sliver of hope that we would start the normal time, but as cases went up, and if you paid attention to all that kind of stuff and what was going on in the schools and the neighborhoods around us, we kind of knew that something was going to happen. So we braced ourselves and the team for it, and we just said we got to play with the hand you're dealt, and we'll go from there. Whenever they tell us we can start, we'll start, and we'll go from there.
I'll stay with Coach Hickey here, not to ignore the cases rising, but just looking at it from squarely a sports, winter sports kind of perspective here. When I saw the date was pushed to the 19th, I kind of, knowing what was promised by the CIAC with football as far as being played, preparing for in March and then being able to be played in April and, so on, play 4 games. But the reason why I bring that up is if winter sports, let's say, gets paused again and they push it, it's almost like they shorten the season. But then if they do allow it, by the time you guys are able to play, then it becomes, well, does winter only play for a month? Because then you have to worry about the the alternative league season and then spring as well.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to look different whatever we have. I know before they even came up with the January 19th date, the number of games that we were going to play had already gone down. And we just talking as a staff, at least for our schedule, we really only played 2 scrimmages and then 2 games on our schedule before the new year anyway. So we said, if January 19th, that's the start date, then, in a month that we used to play 3 games in a week, we might just have to do that, for 2 weeks, and 2 weeks have 2 games and play. I think at the end of the day, and I think Coach would agree, we just want to play. I'll play 3 games, I'll play 16 games, whatever you tell me, that'll be fine with me.
Coach Archambault?
Yeah, I'm all for that. I joke, give me 1 practice, give me 1 game. I'll take anything right now. We never really got a league schedule from our league. But, I saw what the fall sports did, and, they separated the NCCC into pods so that you're playing, those more local teams multiple times. I think they played, 12 games. They even got a little conference tournament in. So, I anticipate, when we do get there, if we do get there, that, it might look similar to like a fall sports type thing. But at this point, like Coach said, we just want to play. We'll take anything, any type of schedule. I don't care if we play, Granby 16 times. We just want to play basketball.
I would love to see the matchup.
Yeah, no, that was kind of joking, but we don't want to do that. But we just want to play.
I'll stay with Coach Archambault here. I think, again, to go back to the January 19th date, I thought one thing in particular when it was announced was that I think it was from the CIAC. They mentioned about, being able to be in person and that being a factor as far as games being played. And I think that's kind of something where I rose even before I even read the quotes when I was just talking to various coaches. I felt like schools either being A, open, or B, having the hybrid would be a big factor for these games to either happen or not happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're totally correct. I know, every school district is different. Every town is different. Obviously, most towns right now are in the red. There's a lot of towns that are either in hybrid or full on distance learning, and that certainly impacts, if games can be played. I think, in the article I read from the CIAC, they polled which districts would play, which wouldn't, and it was about 50-50 there. So those are all decisions that are way out of my control and out of my hands. But you wouldn't want to start a season if half the teams or 75% of the teams in your league couldn't play, and that's definitely a concern going forward. I think schools have to be, whether it's in hybrid or in person, in order for us to open our gyms and allow our kids to play, but they need it.
Coach Hickey, I want to piggyback off of that because I think that's very intriguing because the poll that was according to what was given as far as being able to have, you had, I think it was 44% said that if schools were closed, they would still allow games. You had another percent that said that they wouldn't. And then you had a couple in the middle that said that they would allow them to practice, but not have games. And when you saw those numbers, I mean, I kind of was taken back in some ways, but then I was like, okay, I get it because of the various schools. What was your first reaction to that?
Honestly, I thought that made sense. I mean, if you just go out in everyday life and talk about COVID, you're going to get 50% of people on one end and 50% of people on the other end on what they're comfortable with. So I wasn't too surprised. And like Coach said, it all depends on where we're talking about. If you're in Northwest Connecticut, it's probably looking a little bit different than down here in Fairfield County when we were bad in the spring, and we're getting towards that now. And at the end of the day, those people who have to make those decisions, I'm happy I'm not one of them, but it's a really tough decision that they have to make.
I'm going to stay with Coach Hickey right here because, again, to go back to now the red state issue, where and that's depending on where each county is and such, if they're in the red, that means according to DPH and such, they advise not to play, practice and such, but they basically are saying you can't play, not to play. I don't know about you, but I feel like telling young athletes who have been listening to the protocols and doing the right thing, and even to some degree, you have coaches and such who are pushing it like you guys were. I'm sure you were making sure that your athletes were listening to protocols. When you tell them, all right, you guys can't play, but you're doing everything right because Jimmy and Joe are not, and they caused all this and blah, blah, blah. I feel like that's kind of a detriment to the young men and women.
Yeah, it is, but I also think that it's a great teaching opportunity. That's life. I mean, you could do everything right in your life, and two other people screw it up, and you go down with them. So at the end of the day, we talk about it during the season. We talk about it out of the season. Control the controllables. Do what you can do, and as a team, do what we can do, and that's all we can control. And we just hope that because we did the right thing, we get rewarded for it.
Coach Archambault?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I mean, I've been very upfront and honest with my guys, especially my seniors. And I told them, I said, you might want to treat these fall leagues like this might be the last time you play with your brothers. And you saw what happened. These kids are smarter than we think. They saw what happened with football. They now see winter sports getting pushed. I'd say a lot of them are losing hope. And as a coach, I mean, we're just trying to give them that hope, give them that optimism. There's a lot of time between now and January 19th. A lot of things can happen, but like Coach said, we got to control what we can control. But been very upfront and honest, with the kids, and they're smarter and they know what's going on.
I'll stay with Coach Archambault here. Kind of talk to me about what you discussed with your players, mainly the seniors. What did you say to them during this, what is a very difficult time, because we're in a unknown right now?
Right. One thing, I mean, I enjoyed watching them play throughout the fall. I mean, when you talk about kids wanting to play, the league started where everyone in the gym needed to have a mask on except the players. Then they changed that rule where moderate risk sports need to wear masks. And there was no, like, I don't want to play. It's just, I'm going to figure out what mask works, and just play. So it was really enjoyable to watch these kids play throughout the fall. And when it ended and we found out that we needed to wait till January 19th, I told them three things. I said, one, enjoy the holidays with your family. I mean, I'm 37. I think I started playing organized basketball, I don't know when, middle school, so 11, 12. So that's 20 something years where I've never been home for winter break, ever. So I said, you guys need to enjoy your families. You need to stay positive and stay optimistic that, we're going to lace them up on January 19th. And then I told them, I said, you need to get in the best shape of your life. You have a lot of time right now. You could go on YouTube, you could go on all these gyms and all these free workout apps, and all you need is a room in your house. I mean, my wife and I, we do it in the basement. I said, you need to get in the best shape of your life because you don't want to have a regret if we get to go ahead on January 19th. You can control getting in shape. So I told them those three things.
Coach Hickey, I know you've had an opportunity to talk, both you and Coach Papali do an excellent job with the program. So kind of just tell me, piggybacking off of what Coach Archambault said about what you've talked to with your seniors and your players itself.
Yeah, I mean, kind of similar to what Coach talked about. We told him first that, it's January 19th. It's not moving any day closer. So enjoy the time that you have right now. And that's number one, and stay safe. And then the second thing we said is that you have to get in the best shape of your life. You have no excuse. There's nothing going on. You can't go anywhere. So if you come in January 19th and you were worse off than you were on December 19th, it's going to, not only is it going to be bad on your part, but it's just going to be really noticeable and to the team and as a program. And you just, we want them to do that. We put together some stuff for them to do at home if they don't have access to a gym. But at the end of the day, like we don't check in on them. It's a Google sheet. They can write in when they do it. If they don't do it, they don't do it. So it is what it is.
I want to stay with Coach Hickey here because I think, looking at what I have seen as far as with the athletes in the fall and how they reacted to the protocols and just going through the stress of not knowing if there was going to be a season or not. And then now seeing videos and just talking with various players in the NVL, basketball players in particular, for what they're doing. And I understand that they may seem like, they don't know if there's going to be a season or not. But the one thing that's really impressed me is the amount of maturity that they have of they're not pouting, they're not, resting on their laurels. They're preparing like there's going to be one. And if there's not, they'll deal with it then. And I don't know about you, but that really impressed me for kids so young.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I always joke, I think the world would be a better place if most of the people who are adults acted the way that some of these high school kids do, especially the athletes, because they take it on the chin all the way back from in the spring when everything got canceled. Like, I went into that meeting, and then when we left, they just were like, can we go down and play pickup? And I was like, I thought that was going to be a lot different, because I felt a lot different. And they just kind of, they roll with the punches. They just kind of do what they need to do. And if they are upset about it, they don't wear it on their skin. They just kind of go with the flow. And so I think that's a really impressive thing. I think that's a really good thing for the future of our world too, if that's a good trend that keeps going.
Coach Archambault?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I mean, kids are resilient. Kids are always looking to find ways to get better. They're going to find ways to do something they love. I joke, if I was in high school and, the parks took the rims off the courts, I would build one. I mean, we'd put up something, whether it was a milk crate or whatever it is. I would have found a way to play basketball. And, if a kid loves the game, they're going to find a way to get better, find a way to play. And, you don't need the fans, you don't need the uniforms, you don't need, the official practice to play basketball. So, kids love it, they're going to play.
I'll stay with Coach Andenball here. Now, if there is going to be a season, the biggest thing is going to be is that the players are going to have to wear a mask while playing. And I think that's something to kind of think about where, I don't know about you guys, but I go to the gym almost every day. I wear a mask, I'm sweating, and it's hard to breathe sometimes. So I can only imagine how it's going to be during a game. And I know that there's certain things talked about. I know there was an article written a couple weeks ago in the Day. I forgot his name, Mike something. I can't say his last name, but he wrote an interesting piece about taking, certain breaks, timeouts and such. And I thought it was pretty cool. And I think that's something now, if there is going to be a season, we do need to think about, because at the end of the day, these kids have to be able to breathe. If they can't breathe, we have a whole nother problem on our hands.
Right. Yeah, no, totally. I mean, when all that first came out, my immediate thought was, hey, let me reach out to our athletic trainer who's been at Canton a long time. And I said, hey, what do you think? What have you heard? Is there any research on this? What are the best kind of masks for the kids to play in? And I think her comment was fantastic. She said, this is totally new. I have no idea, but I'll look into it. And that was someone who had a lot more expertise in that area than me. So, I had the kids tried it out, at the end of our fall leagues and playing. And obviously you want it to be lightweight. You want it to be breathable. You got to have multiple ones. Like if you're using those surgical masks, they get waterlogged. They can break easy. So kids have to have backup ones. You want to stay away from the heavy cloth. And certainly, I mean, they're going to have to build in areas. I was looking at, Massachusetts and the rules changes there. And there's a lot of it doesn't look like basketball, but we'll play. We'll play. But I think they're building in extra breaks, and they might have adjusted, quarters and stuff like that. I'm not really sure, but find a way. Kids will find a way. And I saw it. I mean, it's doable. I see prep schools practicing in the masks. Like I said, we had fall leagues with the masks. So it can happen. You just need to kind of maybe adjust some things.
Now, did she ever get back to you about the mask wearing during games?
She sent over a few. I think there's like an Under Armour one that they, correct me if I'm wrong, is Under Armour one that they make that is for athletic endurance training. That's a little bit more on the expensive end. But what I've seen, most kids are playing those blue and white surgical ones, and they just switch them out, throughout the game. Because they can get sweaty. They can get, pretty tough to breathe when it gets pretty sweaty.
Coach Hickey?
Yeah, we actually, the Under Armour mask, our ski coach at prep told Coach Papali about them because they used them before, like pre-pandemic, because they would have to wear a mask. So that was what we've kind of been looking at as a program to maybe order and have the kids just wear. But yeah, we basically told them in the off season when we found about it, and then now going forward, anything you do, you got to do in the mask, and you got to take breaks when you need it, but you need to get used to wearing it. I told the guys at our meeting, Rip Hamilton made a heck of an NBA career wearing a mask. So, I know it wasn't covering his mouth, but still. So I think they'll, like Coach said, they're resilient. So they'll get through it.
Like this, I told all my guys that they're going to have to wear headbands to keep the sweat from going down into the mask.
Have you guys seen I've watched a lot of college basketball games over the last couple of days because it's, mind you, great to see college basketball back. Let me tell you, I've missed it a lot. And I've watched various coaches with masks on, and one of them, who was it? Bill Self. His mask was interesting. It looked like it was covering the mouth, but the nose part had like little holes, but they were very light. It looked like it was something that you could breathe. I don't know, maybe Coach Archambault, you could help me there. Is that maybe something that could possibly be used by high school athletes?
I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that type of mask. So, I'm sure, by January 19th, CIAC will come out with hopefully some guidelines, or at least your athletic department will get some guidelines. What's an acceptable mask versus a non-acceptable mask. that kind of stuff.
Now, another piece that I saw in the day by the same writer, first name Mike, he brought up a point about we can't stay stagnant. We can't stay in our holes. We can't stay in a bubble the rest of our lives. It's either we have to move forward. We can't forget, but we have to move forward because this virus is going to be around us for quite a while, even with the vaccine. It's going to take a while to deploy, get it to everybody first, the teachers and the hospital workers, first responders, and all that. And I'll stay with Coach Archambault here. He brought up a point about having 40 people in the gym. You have coaches, players, medical people, essential media people. I guess probably not going to have 30 people at a game for media, but have a select number. And then you make sure you clean the gym before and after. And obviously you go through the protocols, taking temperatures and so on. What's your comment to that?
I mean, I love it. I mean, that's, thinking ahead. Obviously you want to minimize the amount of people in the gym. Want to make sure things are clean. I think those are all great points. I mean, that's a way that it can be done. So that, I read that article. It was a great article and really agreed with them.
Coach Hickey?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take anything at this point as long as they let the 3 coaches and 17 guys on the bench. I think that's really all that matters. Obviously, parents want to watch their kids play, but I think if you polled the players, they'd be fine with their parents not being there. And I just, with the mask thing, I don't know what they're going to do with like the protocol. With half the way the coaches are wearing them during these games, they take them off when they yell anyway, so it doesn't even make any sense. But I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Hey, it's great for broadcasters like myself. If the fans aren't there, they're going to have to listen one way or another, and the radio or the TV, perfect for us, right?
Right.
There you go.
Definitely.
I think another factor too with the, select number, and also, again, going back to college basketball and seeing how the players are spread out. Now, I understand it's a little bit different because the gyms are not as big, and, college, it's much bigger than high school. So I get that. But I think there's a way to kind of take some of that and maybe implement that into high school one way or another. Again, I'm not that smart. I haven't really thought about it yet, but Coach Hickey, I'll go to you first. Do you think maybe that can be taken in some way?
Yeah, I mean, I'm also of the opinion that I think a lot of that is for show because it is national and it's on TV and people are watching. And I think, I don't know, to my knowledge, none of our prep games have been national yet. So I think that the benches spreading out isn't as important as the kids wearing the masks on the bench while they're sitting there. I think that's fine. The wiping down of the ball and stuff like that, I don't really know if that is going to do much. So I think it's a lot of it is like I said, not for show, but it's to just show the kids, listen, we're taking this seriously. This is what we want. But I don't think that we're going to be able to spread each kid out 6 feet. I mean, there's not going to be enough room in a lot of gyms to do that.
Coach Archambault?
Yeah, no, and I couldn't agree more. And from what I read, a lot of the transmission too around sports, you think about other places they're hanging out. So the locker room, the bus, hopefully not, but, team parties or dinners or stuff like that. And I think that's the stuff you really need to be careful around. There's no reason for us to have to use a locker room. They could come in with their stuff, backpack, put it on the side, get ready to go. I know our athletic department already talked about, being a lot more lenient about, if kids want to travel to an away game with their parents or their family and not taking the bus, and actually almost encouraging, that type of transportation, so thinking about those, gatherings where the kids can, maybe get a little bit more lax, because let's face it, they're going to wear their masks, when we're playing, when we're practicing, when they're on the bench, just, 3 coaches there, plus officials to monitor it. So I think you need to worry about, the other areas where teams can come together.
I want to stick to that, Coach Archambault, because I think if there's going to be a season, there needs to be teamwork, and not just with the program and the coaches, but also the athletic department and everybody involved. Because like you mentioned, being okay with allowing players to go with their parents to an away game, which typically, and so I know when I played in high school, that was forbidden. You were outlawed. You were told you have to go with the team. But we're in 2020, soon to be 2021, we're in very interesting circumstances. And I think for the athletic department, for the coaches and players to all be on the same page is, again, another crucial factor if there's going to be a season, and a successful one at that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it comes down to every district. Each district is different, and there's a lot of people, and the number one thing is student safety. So, I definitely lean on my athletic director, lean on my principal, when it comes down to protocols, and they're going to look different this year, that's for sure. But it'll all be for student safety.
Coach Hickey, same question.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I think in any year it's really important for everyone in the school to be on the same page and work together. And when you have a crisis or whatever it might be, it's important to be on the same page and be organized. But I think it's also really important to let the kids know that, like, this is pretty much on them. I mean, for the majority, that they're the ones who, instead of going to that house party on a Saturday night that someone's having, you got to stay in and, stay at home and just hang out. And we preach that every year, but now it's even more important because, and we talk about how just the little things can affect so many other people on the team. Not only if you go out and get exposed and we get shut down for 2 weeks, but now, you've exposed me. Now I can't go to my job for 2 weeks. Now I have to stay home and my kids don't get their teacher for 2 weeks. So those little decisions can just work their way down and affect a huge number of people. And I think that with everything, we turn it into a learning lesson and a life lesson, and hopefully they make the right decisions.
Guys, you're just about run out of time, but I really do appreciate you both coming on to be able to share your knowledge. Hopefully I can have you both back again, either both of you as a team, because I didn't know you both knew each other beforehand. Coach Hickey sent me a text this morning and he was like, "Hey, I know Coach Archambault." I'm like, "Oh, cool. Even better."
Right. Nice.
But guys, I really do appreciate it again. Thank you for all you've done being able to come on the podcast separately before it became what it is now. And again, for, being able to come on now with all this, these success that it's had. Coach Hickey, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. And I hope both of you have a great holiday and stay safe, stay healthy.
Coach Archambault, thank you so much.
Chris, hey, thank you so much again. Thank you for really being an advocate for high school sports, all the students, all the athletes, all the coaches, all the fans. And Coach, have a great holiday. We got to find something to do with our free time.
I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I said the only positive about this whole thing is that the cuts have been moved for a month. I
know, right? That's true. That's true.
Hey, we're hoping for a season, guys. We're hoping.
Absolutely.
I think it's 49 days away?
That's right.
Yeah.
49 days. I'll wrap things up here on the special edition of the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, Coaches Roundtable. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent, and I'm on a journey to find them all. Have a good one, everybody, and be well.